Now with Drake just coming off another live stream with Ed and Ross, we've been handed what might be the most unfiltered look at Drake in recent memory, and honestly, it's not a good one. We saw Drake's worst habits on full display, completely taking over and ultimately embarrassing him in front of everyone. What's become painfully obvious is that despite trying to give off the vibe that he's unfazed by Kendrick Lamar and everything that's happened between them, Drake just can't keep it together. He couldn't stop bringing Kendrick up directly and indirectly, kept trying to chip away at his success with the same tired narratives he's always leaned on, from tiptoeing around saying Kendrick's name to almost fully calling him out again. It was just another huge misstep. This moment with Ed and Ross, which is probably the closest thing we're going to get to a real Drake interview, for a while showed us everything, no lyrics to hide behind, no months of rollout or editing to filter the message. Just raw real-time, Drake, and it exposed everything going on behind the scenes. But before we get deeper into this all-time crash out, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps a ton. So back to it. This Drake and Aiden Ross stream wasn't just a mess, it was a disaster for Drake's image at a time when he's trying so hard to appear unbothered, successful, and in control. This live stream to the exact opposite. It made him look petty, insecure, and jealous, and once again, all of that was directed toward Kendrick Lamar. Even with Aiden and others around him trying to push a pro-Drake narrative claiming Kendrick is dragging things out or using the beef for attention, it all falls flat because at the end of the day, it's not Kendrick keeping this going, it's Drake. Drake could have used this moment to distract fans, to look like he's above the drama, to finally move on, but instead, he kept circling back to Kendrick, bringing him up again and again. That's not moving on, that's obsession. Is trying to make Kendrick the villain in all this, trying to get fans to unite around him out of pity or loyalty, but that's the only card Drake has left to play, and it's not working. Every time he opens his mouth on this topic, it backfires. Meanwhile, Kendrick's team has to be laughing. While Drake's unraveling on Twitch streams, Kendrick is getting ready to perform, not like us in venues. Drake's never touched his breaking records, elevating the art and staying focused on music, not gossip. Kendrick's locked in, he's building history, and Drake has spiraling. Drake has once again managed to talk himself into a corner this time, while trying to flex and act tough about Kendrick Lamar. During his latest stream with Aiden Ross, the two were discussing Aiden's upcoming boxing event. When Aiden asked Drake how much it would take for him to step into the ring himself, at first Drake did his usual rambling, trying to dodge the question. But when Aiden finally asked whom Drake would want to fight, you could literally see Drake freeze up. His face said everything. In that moment, while thinking about who he could name, it was clear he almost slipped and said Kendrick's name. You can practically see the wave of memory Severy L. Kendrick has handed him rush through his head. And just like that, Drake held back. He knew better than to go too far, because even a hypothetical oniono with Kendrick, whether in music, public perception, or a boxing ring, just a battle, Drake doesn't want any part of his nervous laugh right after hilarious. You could tell he was scrambling, trying to brush it off and move the conversation along. But the damage was done. And honestly, while these streams and collabs between Drake and Aiden Ross are usually a weird mix of annoying and cringe, they do give us something new in hip-hop, a raw, unfiltered look at how rappers actually react when faced even hypothetically with the people who ended their careers. Drake tried to play it off like it was nothing. He said he wouldn't do it in a real ring, but might do it in a private gym, still clearly referring to Kendrick without saying his name. Then, like clockwork, he tried to snap back into the cool, unfazed persona he's been clinging to lately, pretending like it's all just fun and games. But if you thought he'd stop there, not even close. Drake couldn't keep Kendrick's name out of his mouth, or at least the thought of Kendrick, because shortly after the conversation took another turn. While playing around on stream, Drake tried to discredit Kendrick's accomplishments again. At one point, Aiden played Kendrick's "Okay," clearly trying to provoke a reaction. And while the song was playing, they joked about streaming numbers. Aiden offered to run a stream for Drake, and Drake shot back with "Run up my numbers, these other guys are doing it," a thinly veiled jab at Kendrick, suggesting that Kendrick's streams are fake or inflated. It's clear at this point this is the only rebuttal Drake has left. No bars, no musical response, just weak jokes and conspiracy-level shots at Kendrick's success. And that's what's so telling about all of this. Think about where Drake used to be. The man was once at the very top of hip-hop, commanding respect, dominating charts, controlling narratives. Now, he's on Twitch streams with Aiden Ross, throwing passive-aggressive jabs, talking in circles, and getting visibly rattled anytime Kendrick's name almost comes up. It's a massive downgrade, not just in platform, but in presence. If this is where Drake's at in 2025 doing live streams and gossip sessions instead of dropping classic albums or standing tall in rap beefs, then he's nowhere near the conversation for greatest rapper anymore. Meanwhile, Kendrick is quiet, focused, and locked in. He's not streaming. He's not joking. He's building something that's going to last. He's prepping not like us for stages. Drake has never touched. He's doing the work, letting the music speak, letting the wind speak. And Drake is still talking, still spinning, still slipping. Once again, Drake can't help but remind everyone just how bitter and broken Kendrick Lamar has left him during another awkward moment on stream with Adin Ross. Even when Adin was just trying to have fun and play Kendrick's Nano Cavalle record, half joking, half fanboying, Drake used the opportunity to push more tired narratives instead of brushing it off or handling it with any grace. Drake went right back to trying to discredit Kendrick's dominance. Drake tried to claim again that Kendrick's massive success is real, that it's all because of the industry, not the people, that Kendrick's wins aren't authentic. It's a desperate argument and a telling one. Because no matter how many times Drake tries to spin the story, the truth shows in his contradictions. What makes this even more pathetic is that while Drake and his team have dropped the claim that Not Like Us has fake streams in the official paperwork they've filed against Kendrick's label, Drake himself is still out here running around with the same talking points. He's still sneak dissing Kendrick's numbers, still throwing out jabs to suggest it's all inflated or rigged. So which is it? Is Kendrick so irrelevant that he needs fake streams to look big, or is he so dominant that Drake feels the need to legally challenge his success? Drake wants to put on one face for the public, trying to be the same old confident, unbothered guy who's above it all. But behind the scenes, in legal filings and industry whispers, he's painting himself as someone completely shattered by what Kendrick did with Not Like Us. It's the contradiction that kills his credibility. Because you can't be both the unaffected icon and the defeated victim. And that's the thing, Drake is exposing himself at every turn. Whether it's sneak dissing in music, throwing passive-aggressive jokes on stream, or acting like he's just having fun, while constantly circling back to Kendrick, it all screams obsession. The man is clearly consumed by this loss, and the cracks are starting to show in ways that even his most loyal fans can't deny. It's not just losing a rap battle, he's losing the image he's spent a decade building. Instead of elevating himself, Drake is stuck trying to tear Kendrick down. All while contradicting his own moves. He's trying to convince fans he's still the real one, the artist who stands tall against the industry machine. But nothing he's doing adds up. The jokes don't land, the music is resonating, and the fake cool act is falling apart. And all of this with Adin Ross just makes it worse. Because what Drake is really showing us is that this is who he is now, a guy more interested in playing streamer than rapper. He's hanging out with people more immature than he is, laughing at memes, dodging accountability, and delivering nothing of value musically. There's no story in his music, no substance, no spark, just noise. This is the real reason people say Drake is hip-hop anymore. Yes, he still pulls numbers, but they're a fraction of what they once were. And the only reason he's doing that is because of the echo chamber he's built around himself, people like aided sycophants and Henderson, who treat him like he's still the guy he used to be. But he's not. Drake is the first rapper who's fully transitioned into cosplay mode. He wears the rapper costume, does the rapper bits, and sells the image, but it's hollow, the passion, the storytelling, the hunger that defined his earlier work. It's all gone now. He's just playing the part of former heavyweight champ clinging to old belts. While everyone else has moved on, Kendrick is making history. Drake is making Twitch content, and the saddest part, he seems perfectly fine with that. At this point, it's more obvious than ever Drake isn't even trying to be a rapper anymore. The man is leaning way harder into being a personality than an artist, and with everything we've seen recently, especially his stream collabs with Adin Ross, it's clear Drake has more in common with Adin Kai, or even Jake Paul, than he does with Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, or Travis Scott. It's honestly wild. Drake, once at the top of the hip-hop food chain, now seems more at home cracking jokes on Twitch than crafting timeless music. And it only gets weirder when you realize Adin was officially welcomed into OVO during one of their bits, and Adin looked like he just won the lottery. Drake's energy toward Adin was way more affectionate and proud than we've seen him show toward most of his actual artists, including Part Next Door, who, by the way, has completely disappeared from Drake's orbit. Even after they dropped an album together, not only was PND nowhere to be found in the NOKIA music video, but Drake has pretty much erased him from the rollout altogether. That silence says everything. Meanwhile, Drake's all in with this new circle, streamers, influencers, people who aren't even in hip-hop, and the saddest part, that's really all the community he has left. Because anyone who genuinely loves hip-hop and respects what the art form stands for can't see Drake the same way anymore, not after the way his clowned the culture, disrespected the pillars of rap, and completely lost the plot. Drake built his empire off hip-hop. But now has ditched the genre for content creation. He's no longer in the same lane as Rick Ross's in Ed and Ross world now. But here's the kicker, even after all of that, Drake is still claiming he's not done with music. He says he's working on a new solo album, and that it's going to be very good in his opinion, of course. Somehow, despite everything he's been doing to distance himself from the culture, he still wants that same respect from it. He wants to put out another record and reclaim the spot he once had. He wants to reshape the game back to how he liked it. But let's be real, there's no going back. Drake's not even operating like an MC anymore. And while he's doing all this to create buzz and force hype around his next project, none of it hits the same. From where he once stood at the peak of the genre to now being known more for meme-worthy moments with Aiden Ross, Drake has taken the biggest fall we've ever seen in hip-hop. And the root of all this, it always leads back to Kendrick Lamar. Because as long as Drake continues to get visibly uncomfortable even at the mention of Kendrick, as long as we can all see the fear in his eyes, like we did during that stream, is never going to regain that throne. He's not just losing ground, he's becoming a joke. Every move he makes reinforces what Kendrick already proved: Drake is not the same. So while Drake might think these Ed and Ross collabs are wins-like, he's staying relevant, like he's connecting with a new wave of fans. What he's actually doing is reminding everyone how far he's fallen. Kendrick broke him, and that break is healing. It's widening. Drake's turning himself into the punchline. And with Kendrick gearing up for more music, some of the most ambitious stuff he's worked on yet, it's only going to get worse for Drake. So now, I gotta ask, what did you think about this latest Drake and Aiden Ross collab? What does this tell you about Drake's future, both as a rapper and as a public figure? And how obvious is it at this point that Kendrick Lamar really has Drake shook? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm excited to hear what you all think. And if you made it this far, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. Now, if you want to see how things are about to get even worse for Drake and why Kendrick Lamar's next move might be the final nail in the coffin, check out the suggested video on screen now.